I'm Mike Barber from the Center for Teaching Excellence.
I am Sujata Krishna from the Physics Department.
And we're here to talk a little bit about Elevate, our professional development program at CTE that's personalized, where we get to work one-on-one with faculty members in consultation to help them grow in specific areas that they choose. So Sujata, would you tell us a little bit about what attracted you to Elevate, what interested you?
Sure. So I first heard about Elevate from my chair, actually. And he suggested that why don't I look into this, because I was discussing with him that I was having, I've been teaching for many years, but I felt that my connection with the students, particularly in large courses, wasn't going so great. I'm more of a very interactive kind of teacher, very active learning, and we teach the large courses in a more traditional way. So I really felt that I could benefit from some personalized help with that. And it's this personalization of this program that really attracted me. I didn't want to go through a lot of workshops that might not fully be relevant to me, but this is where I felt I could get more focused attention on what I wanted.
Right. And I don't mean to make you blush, but Sujata came to us with a lot of experience teaching and a lot of good strategies. And I think that she proves that Elevate isn't just for people who might be new to teaching, but people who have a lot of experience and just want to take it to another level. So.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, that was what attracted me. And I think a lot of people who've been teaching for some time could benefit from a program like this, because you can narrow it down and hone it to exactly what you want to work on.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your experience in Elevate? You've talked about some of the areas you really wanted to drill down on. So what was your experience like?
The program started, as you know, with a self-reflection, which itself was very interesting to me. At the beginning, it felt like, I have to fill in this long form. But then as I worked my way through it, I found myself reflecting more and more on my teaching and what I do and what I think my weaknesses might be. And it helped me hone exactly what I wanted to get out of the program as well. So I really enjoyed that. And then we had a few meetings to go over what I wanted out of the program and how best to go about it. So I looked at some of the modules, and then you sent me a curated list of readings for large courses, specific to large courses. That really helped me because it was directly in the area that I could apply those things. So I was doing some of those things like think, pair, share, or I would throw a question out in the class and we wouldn't always get a response. Some students might consider it too easy. Some students might consider it too hard. There's also a natural shyness to speak up in front of 200-300 people, which is quite understandable. And yet that's my style. It's a very Socratic style of teaching. And I feel, it's a partnership. We're doing learning in the classroom much more than teaching. That's how I like to do it. And so for that, I really needed your help, how to connect better with the students. That's what I came in looking for. And it was very helpful to me, the observations that you did, and then you gave me very detailed feedback. In fact, I shared that feedback with my chair, and we went through those things. And then I would prepare my lecture just to go into the classroom, and I found myself going through your checklist of ideas of what I could put into my lecture. And of course, you can't put in everything every time. Mm-hmm. But I remember working on a couple of specific things. One is I felt, because I teach physics, it's not a subject of humanities where you bring yourself into it so much. And I was really holding that back, I think, in the past. So the students wouldn't feel they got to know me as well unless they came to office hours, which is just a handful of students. So I wanted to break that ice, and you gave me some strategies. So I remember in one of my classes, I put a little crossword clue in there, and just before the class started. And some students actually tried it, and they came up to me, is it this, is it this? And that was fun. Mm-hmm. And I talked about how I'd been doing some of these games, and I do them often, like Wordle, etc. So that helped to break the ice with the students. And now I often think about putting something personal in there, which I would have not done had I not gone through Elevate. Mm-hmm. So I think that really helped make a connection with the students. The second thing that I took away, which was to link the course to a very real life example, and preferably what you're teaching that day, link it to a real life example towards the start of the class to motivate the students to say, look, this is what we're going to learn about, something that relates to the cell phone or the blinking lights that you might see on your bicycle or something like that.
Yeah, make it
right?
relevant.
Make it relevant
right.
to real life. Now, we used to do this, but I would often do it towards the back end of the class. I've taught this concept, and now let's see where we apply it. But one of the things I took away was to just move that forward and bring a little flavor of it and in the beginning, and then you can still talk about it, the application a little more at the back end.
Mm-hmm.
But this just makes it real for the student. Like, why am I learning this? Where do I use this? And I teach a lot of pre-med classes, so applying physics to medical ideas like the MRI, we just did nuclear physics, we talked about positron emission tomography, and that just made it, these things they can actually see at FIXL or in SHANS at UF. And so many of them, this is a real technique that they come across.
Right.
And they found that pretty good. So I think it has definitely improved for me. My relationship with the students in the large course has definitely improved.
I remember going into your class and there were just a lot of students. I mean, you teach large enrollment classes, but you do a really good job of interacting with them, having one-on-one dialogues with them, asking them to work in groups. You did polling. You had them solve individual problems. So what I really liked about being in your class was you took what could be a very impersonal environment and made it very personable, and I could see you trying to make those important connections with your students.
Yeah, thanks. Actually, all of us who teach in the large courses, we have 4 large courses in physics, and I think some things all of us do. We all do eye clickers, we all reach out to students, we ask, we have some wait time, we throw out questions. But it really helped. What I was not doing was that personalization, and I think it really broke that ice. And now I feel more connected to students. I can see them talking to me about things beyond the classroom. Sometimes I have to tell them that I have to look that up, or I'll think about this and I'll get back to you, because it might be out of my area of expertise. But it's nice to get those questions. Yeah.
Well, you made our first run of Elevate just what we hoped and dreamed it would be. We enjoyed getting to know you, and we're happy to know that it helped and benefited you in your teaching.
Vice versa. I started off at UF, and I did a number of CTE courses, including the certificates for great teaching and passport to great teaching. And this was like going one level beyond, much more personal, much more in-depth. So thank you very much for coming to my classroom, for taking all this time to give me feedback. I really, really appreciate it.
Oh, it was our pleasure.
And Jennifer.
All right.
Parker.
Thank you.